Well, it's finally time to talk about the A-League champions for season 2021-22. It is Western United. Who saw it coming? I don't think anyone saw it coming. I mean, Western United, a team who entering this season, brought in John Aloisi, got rid of Mark Redan after those first couple of years in charge, needed something different after a pretty poor finish to the last campaign, slipping out of that top six after they finished, fifth in their first campaign. And people were questioning that signing of John Aloisi, and it was also interesting looking at some of the players that they were bringing in. Some international signings. When you looked at Alexander Prijovic, Rennie Krien, Leo Lacroix, everyone curious to see how these guys settled into the A League. And overall, they did really, really well. I mean, Leo Lacroix is the big one. I mean, how good was he this season? An absolute beast at the back for Western United, and his partnership with Tomoki Imai, in my opinion, the best centre back partnership in the league. And overall, I think John Aloisi did such a good job of getting the best out of every individual player, which is what we see a lot of successful championship-winning coaches do in the A-League. When you look at players like Josh Risdon, Ben Garuccio, Stephen Lustakar, Neil Kilkenny, these sorts of players who have been in the A-League system for a little bit and are all decent players in their own right, but sort of took their game to another level, right? I mean, Ben Garuccio is a good example, was basically the reserve, left back at Melbourne City last season. Didn't get much game time. Goes to Western United and under John Aloisi becomes one of the best left backs in the league. Neil Kilkenny in midfield for me was one of the best defensive midfielders in the competition. He was just orchestrating things every single game for them. And in terms of the attackers as well, I mean, I thought Lockie Wales was very, very good. I think all he needs to add to his game, and you could probably say a similar thing for Connor Payne, who has been in the A-League for a while as well. Maybe just adding more goals to their game. But overall, they were contributing to their side brilliantly. And Alexander Prijovic, grabbed a handful of goals and came up big time. The big thing for Prijovic, and this is what you want for your marquee signings, the big players that you bring in, that you pay the big bucks for, to show up in the big games. And he absolutely did in the final series. First of all, though, when you look at the regular season for Western United, the story for them in those opening few rounds with those 1-0 wins, they were just the king of the 1-0 victories. And, that gave them a really strong start. They were towards the top of the table. And look, at times was slipping out a little bit. They that form faltered at times, and they did slip out, third, and just managing to sort of jostling for top spots, that top two, a place in the top two with those other Victorian sides. That was one of the really interesting battles for this season in the A-League, and seeing how Western United really dug deep there towards the end of the campaign to make sure that they did finish in a decent position and have that home elimination final. And look, John Aloisi, I think, did a fantastic job managing this side. Basically a new group of players, a new formation, and turned them into a really difficult side to beat. Defensively, that was the thing for Western United. They didn't score loads and loads of goals, but defensively, they were just so hard to break down. I think they had the second best defense in the league behind Melbourne Victory this season, only 30 goals conceded. So, again, Western United, when they went into the final series, everyone was no one really expected them to make it all the way to the big one, let alone win the whole thing. That elimination final against Wellington was a really gritty performance. It could have easily gone either way. I did see a lot of people tipping Wellington. Jamie Young had a fantastic game in goals, and obviously they got that lone goal in the first half, Prijovic, to get through to the semi-finals. And then just the epic semi-final duel with Victory, down 1-0 in that first leg. Second leg, show up with a big 4-1 performance. For me, it's one of the most incredible games of the season. Just a heroic performance, a massive, monumental performance by Western United in that game to win it. And, the likes of Prijovic had a massive performance, put in a massive shift in that game. And he did, of course, in the grand final as well, scoring that second goal in the grand final. And Western, were just near perfect. Obviously, they did have that loss in the first leg to Victory. But overall, just was so strong, and not for a second did they give up. That's the thing for Western United. Not for a second did they look like falling apart defensively, just crumbling under the pressure, which they could have done multiple times. They had to defeat their two Victorian rivals, Melbourne Victory, Melbourne City, two big clubs with solid fan bases and with quality players on the park. Western United, a club only 3 years into their existence, have defeated the big boys, their big neighbours, and won the championship. It really is remarkable, and I think it's a great story, man. Honestly, as a neutral, I think it's a great story seeing that as this side who doesn't really have a home yet. They haven't built their home. It simply doesn't exist yet. And they've as a fan base that's still growing. They're a side that are going to be really exciting to sort of to see their development. And they've been on the end of a lot of banter now, but I think a lot of people's respect is going to go up for Western United now after what has been a fantastic season for them. So congratulations to Western United for this season. But the really interesting one for me, and the question to round at this one for you guys in the comments section, we'd love to get your thoughts. But do you think Western United could go, one step further, finishing in the top 2 next season? And could they be there again on grand final day? I'm not sure. I mean, yeah, they certainly could do, but I feel like other teams might catch them. I think Victory will want to get there again. City are always going to be tough as well, and who knows what happens, with some of those big Sydney clubs as well. It's going to be really interesting next season. Where do you think Western will finish next year? Let me know down in the comments. Guys, thanks for checking out this season review. Make sure to check out all the other club season reviews on the Coastwood Football YouTube channel. I've done every single team now, so make sure you go check them out. My name's Lockie. This is Coastwood Football. See you in the next one.